Okay guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the whole Halloween franchise, guessing the scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and then we're going to be obviously revealing the real scores, seeing how close I got. You can play along at home. And since I never really go on it, I've definitely never seen what the Halloween scores are, and I just thought I'm actually really interested to see, because basically the way that it works from what I've gathered is it has a tomato meter or yeah, it's got that, and that is basically like film critics' review of it, and then it also has an audience score. And yeah, we're going to be seeing how close I get. Remember, as I said, play along in the comments below if you want. Let me know how close you guys got. But yeah, guys, first up, we are going to be searching Halloween 1978. My score prediction for this is that I think that the critics have given this a 94%, and I think the audience, I'm going to go slightly below, and I'm going to go with 90%. So without further ado, let's check what Halloween got. Okay, so for Halloween, the original one, it is 96% with critics and 89% with audience score. I was very close with the audience score. But yeah, that's very interesting. There's only actually 84 reviews from the critics. I don't know whether that's like a usual thing. I don't know how many critics are on here and, will go to these kinds of films. But then the audience score has been done by over 250,000 people. But all in all, that's a very good score for the original Halloween. I'm glad that it's, nothing below kind of 85 for each one. And yeah, guys, next up, we've got Halloween 2. This is the 1981 version of it, not the Rob Zombie one. And for this one, I've dropped off a fair bit. My guess is that for the critics, it's going to be 73%. And I think for the audience, it's going to be around 80%. However, I don't want to give a whole number, so I am going to change my prediction real quick, which I know it's not allowed, but I am going to do it anyway. I'm going to give it a 73. So yeah, I think I said, what did I say, 74 and 73. So okay, so for this one, I'm going to go with 74% for the critics, and I'm going to go for 73% for the audience. Wow, that is insanely low, and that does not have that many reviews either. That's only 48 reviews, and they must have all reviewed this pretty bad. I definitely thought this film would be lower, but from what I had seen, I'm very surprised at the audience score being as low as it is. But this one does have 50,000 plus ratings, so it's definitely lower than the original Halloween. But yeah, very interesting. I did not expect it to be that low for critics on Halloween 2, but it's not really one of my favored films in the franchise anyway. But guys, moving on from this, we've got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This one I'm a bit interested in, because obviously Halloween 3 is maybe the weaker of the franchise, just purely because it doesn't have Michael. But as far as like a horror Halloween style film, I think this is a very fun and good horror, so I'll be very interested in this one. But my guess is going into this, I'm going to go for the critics 64%, and for the audience I'm going to go lower. I've gone a considerable amount lower. I've gone 36. But let's take a look now. Wow, okay, so we've got 50% for the critics and 28% for the audience score. I feel like I have overshot some of these films that are coming up maybe then. Moving on from this though, we have now got Halloween 4, one of my personal favourites. And for this one, I feel like I might be close. I shouldn't have said that, but I have a good feeling about this one. So for the critics, I've gone with 43%, and then for the audience score, I've gone with 62%. Okay, this one is not good either. This one does only have 31 reviews by critics, but it has a score of 39%, and the audience score is 53. I was not as close as I thought. I wasn't too far off, to be fair. I was off with the audience score a fair bit, but the critic score, I was kind of nearly there. But yeah, that is really, that is poor. Okay, my Halloween 5 one, I may have lowballed this a lot, but I don't know. My guess for Halloween 5 is critics 7%, and I think audience are going to give it around a 28. Wow, so fair enough. It actually got higher than I thought with the critics, 11%, and the audience score, it did better on that as well. I did not expect that, but that critic review is very poor, very bad. All right, so next up we've got Halloween 6. For this one, I've given the critics one a 14%, and I've given the audience one a 40. I don't know how, but somehow Halloween 6 is lower than Halloween 5. That's from a critics review as well. That one has shocked me. I put 14%. I thought it was going to be low still, but I did not think it would only be 8%. And then the audience was also lower than I expected, but only by 3%, so that's not too bad. Alright, so next up we've got Halloween H2O. Hopefully this is higher than the previous two. If you've seen my ranking of the franchise, you'll know that this is one of my favourites. Obviously, it's literally just turned 25 years old. But for this one, I have guessed for the critics a 55%, and for the audience a 64%. Okay, I was 1% off with the critic review. The audience score I was quite a bit off with. They did not enjoy it as much as I thought. There's way more reviews on this one though, which is good. But yeah, I wonder if any of these other films are actually going to pass like 70. Next up, we have probably the most interesting one on here. We've got Halloween Resurrection. I have given this, for the critics, I've given it a 5%. And for the audience, I've given it a 27%. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the critic review was surprisingly high. And when I say high, I mean over like an 8. But yeah, I think the audience score is going to be around this, like 20. I'd give it like a 3% window each way. Like it could be 24 or it also could be 30%. It did way better than I thought it was gonna. It has 10% on the critic review. The audience score was worse than I predicted though, but I did not expect that critic score to be as high as it is. All right, we're almost at the end now, but we're into the Rob Zombie Halloweens. We're first going to do number 1, and for that one, I've given it, for the critics, I've given it a 33%, and for the audience, I've given it a 55%. So yeah, let's see how close we actually were. Okay, so this one's got 28% critics, which is lower than I guessed, but actually surprisingly high. And the audience score, I actually lowballed it. I did not expect that. I thought 55% was like going to be quite impressive. I was thinking maybe it was going to come up, especially like with the other films, I thought it was going to come up with like between like 45 and 50%. But almost 60% is not bad, which moves us into Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. For this one, I've gone lower than I did before with the critic review. I think it's going to be 22%. And then with the audience score, I've gone with 37%. So let's see how close we actually were with this one. We were 1% off again with the critic review. 22. I don't know why I went 22. I should have done 2 different numbers. But the audience score was way higher than I expected. The audience score is 44%, and that's over 250,000 ratings. That is better than I expected for this film. I thought it was going to be very, very low. But we have made it now to the trilogy, the last 3 films that we did get, and I'm interested for Halloween 2018 because I think if we're ever going to get one that's higher than like a 70% both ways, it's going to be this one. I'm worried for what Kills ratings are, but I'm also very worried for what Halloween Ends are because I don't think they're going to be good at all. For this one, I've gone with 85% on the critics review, which I'm heavily regretting now, having looked at the original film, but I've gone with it. So I'm going to go with 85 for the critics review, and I've gone with 80 for the audience review. I think I've definitely gone too high, but I have faith that this one is going to be over 70%. Okay, so we are back up over 70%, which is good for both of the rankings as well. We've nearly got 80% on the critics reviews. It's just below it, and it has 389 reviews, which is a lot more. And then the audience score is at 72%, which is pretty good. I'd say that score is definitely deserved considering the ranking of the like original film. And then moving on to Halloween Kills, I don't think this is going to be a very good rating. It is, again, like it's one of the Halloween films that I enjoy more, but do I think a critic is going to like it? Not really. So I've given it a 44% for the critics, and for the audience, I've given it a little bit higher. I've gone 55. I'm hoping that the audience score is a little bit higher. Like I did kind of lowball with that one, but I think 55% is safe. I hope it's not below that. Okay, so the critic score is lower than I'd guess. We've got 39% for the critics, and for the audience score, it was higher, which is good. The audience score was 66%, which I'm quite happy with considering the like original amount of hate that the film did get when it came out. So yeah, I'll live with that, to be fair. And now we are at the end with Halloween Ends. My guess for this is it's going to be another quite low ranking one. I've gone with 38% for the critics, and for the audience score, I've gone 55 again. I'm not too sure why I did that, but I've gone with that. So let's take a look at the final addition to the franchise. Okay, we weren't far off with it. We've got 40% for the critics, which is actually better than I expected. I thought I'd maybe gone a little bit too high with that one. And then we've got 57% for the audience score, which again is higher than I'd guessed. So actually pretty happy with that. I don't think we got any bang on, and I didn't really think we would, but that's quite interesting to see what people do think of these films. Let me know down in the comments below whether you got any of these correct. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.